Hello there, this is DBT and these are the rooms. And alright, let's continue playing some more Asphalt Legends Unite. And today, I'm gonna be talking about the card that you see on the screen right now, and that is the Rimac Nevera T.A. But to be more specific, I'm gonna be talking about the special hunt for it that just started. And oh boy, it's a fantastic opportunity for you to acquire this card if you can acquire it. So today I'm gonna go over the basics of the special hunt, what are the requirements and all of that stuff. But before I jump into it, if you enjoy my content, please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel, because doing these things tells YouTube that this is worth recommending to more people, and with that I am able to continue making this content for you. So once again, like and subscribe for some more Alu right here. But alright, like I just mentioned in this video, I'm gonna go over the basics of what are special hunts, and this is to provide the information to any people that are not familiar with this, because this is, like I just mentioned, a fantastic opportunity to get the car, but there's some commitment needed in order to do it, so we're gonna go over it. Now, special hunts, unlike regular hunts which are normally found under daily events, they are found under special events, and you can see it over here. Now, this started already yesterday, so probably you already saw kind of how this works, but still, we're gonna go over it. Now, I suppose that the very first thing that we should talk about is the car itself, the Rimac Nevera T.A. And here you have it. It is a Class S car of a maximum rank of 48-35 when goldened out. 6-star car, so it's gonna require a lot of blueprints, and the stats go as follows. A top speed of 409.7, it is not particularly fast for Class S. In fact, I would even dare to say that it's on the slow side in Class S. However, the real power of this car lies on the acceleration of 89.13. This is absolutely crazy levels of acceleration, even for Class S, so this is really the power of the car. When it comes to handling and nitro, you can see that the stats are not particularly impressive, but then again, this car is one of those that are gonna benefit a lot in either very short tracks or in tracks that do have a lot of small jumps where it's gonna be able to get into that top speed right away, thanks to, obviously, when you're using nitro smartly to that. And I actually believe that this would be a fantastic card to use in Gauntlet if you are in a, let's say, in a league where you should be able to use Class S cars, because man, that acceleration, like I said, in short tracks, it is so powerful. Now, when it comes to the hunt itself, the way that this works is first things first. The car, it is a key card. That is to say that you may get all of the blueprints for the car, get it to 6 stars, but if you don't own the key, the car is actually not yours. However, in this type of hunts, it is kind of a blessing and a curse, and I'll explain. Well, the very first thing is that the stage 1, you have access to it obviously right away, it's unlocked. What is it about? Well, in each one of these stages, the whole idea is to get an amount of tokens, you know, it's fine, a couple of blueprints guaranteed that you can get by doing the conditions, and then from there onwards, you need to continue doing the races a bunch of times until you get enough blueprints to get to the next star. Now, like in regular hunts, this is a grinding situation, right? Where you're gonna be getting these packs, and you may be able to get a blueprint, otherwise you're gonna get some parts or some credits and whatnot. So the whole point is doing this race a lot of times. Now, the important distinction between this and a regular car hunt is how it works, in the sense that this is a race with the car featured in the hunt. But the advantage also is that it doesn't have any fuel. So in regular hunts, you can use just about any car that you own, so long as it's in the correct class for the car that you're driving, or one below or even lower than that. So for example, if you're doing a Class B hunt, you can use Class B cars and not necessarily the main one. Now over here, you do get to use specifically this car, and being a 6-star car would only have 3 fuel, so that would be a pain in the rear bumper. However, like I just mentioned, it doesn't use any fuel, so you can continue doing these races without limitation in that regard. And the other important thing to consider is that these races cost 1 single ticket, as opposed to the usual 2-ticket cost of normal car hunts. Now, this is obviously considering that normal car hunts cost 2 tickets if you don't own the event pass. Over here, I'm going to talk about everything as if you don't own the event pass, because really, it really doesn't make a ton of difference in this type of hunt. Don't get that pass thinking that you're going to get twice as many packs over here as you do in regular hunts. So that is one thing to consider. But anyway, as I was just mentioning, no fuel means a lot of races, 1 ticket means a lot of races. That is fantastic. Now, like I said, it's going to be a lot of grinding in order for you to get all of these blueprints, but once you manage to get all 40 blueprints, you're going to get into your 2nd star, which will mean that you can now start doing stage 2. Now, all of these stages are unlocked, but the conditions require the cars to be used at a certain star. So if you're doing this race with a 1-star car, it's not going to do anything. You're not going to get anything. So instead, you need to wait until you have 2 stars, and then you continue doing this. And over here is going to be the exact same thing. You're going to be getting some tokens guaranteed, 2 blueprints guaranteed, and once again from there, you need to continue grinding in order to get more blueprints, and again, you can get some of the other stuff, right? So that is how it continues going. Once you get this, once you complete stage 2 by getting the card to the 3rd star, then you can get to stage 3. Same situation in terms of what you get and what not. Once you get it to 4 stars, you get to do stage 4. Once you get it to 5 stars, you get to do stage 5. Over here, there's a bit of a peculiarity though. If you notice, even though the rewards are going to be basically the same, once you look over here at the packs, you start noticing that these packs can not only contain blueprints for the car, but also epics. And more interestingly is that these packs will contain, anytime that you get a drop of blueprints in these packs, instead of getting 1 blueprint, you get 2, which is fantastic. It doubles on speed on, you know, how many blueprints you get, and rarely you will get some epics. These are going to be pretty important down the line. Now, I say down the line, I'm going to explain it right away. But stage 6, once you finally get the car to the 6th stage, over here you might be thinking, well, what do you do after that? Because it's already 6 stars, what else do I need? Well, in this stage is where you hunt for epics. Now, this is where these packs are going to be able to contain these epics and whatnot. Now, if you're maybe like me, where I'm like, cars without epics can still perform, I don't necessarily need them. Well, that's not the case over here, because like I just mentioned, you can start up the car as much as you want, but if you don't own the key, the car is not yours. And that is where stage 7 comes to play. Because in stage 7, if you have the car at 6 stars, you can actually acquire the key. But there's a catch. There's a little catch over here. It's not only required at 6 stars. If we go into the race, you will need that the required rank is going to be the gold rank. That's right, you need to gold the car before you can acquire the key. And this is where things get a little bit complicated for a lot of players that are unprepared for this type of hunt. Now, I've been making these videos for a long time talking about this type of hunts, and I've been saying time and time again, save credits, people. Don't go broke every time. And this is exactly why. Now, the thing about this is, let's say that you grinded all of these stages, you did all of the races, and you even managed to get all of the epics in stage 6, which are considerably more difficult than getting the blueprints because the drop rate for this are much slower. So let's say that you did all of that, fantastic. Now you just need to gold the car. How many resources do you need? What do you need in order to do that? You need 42.5 million credits in order to gold the car. 42 millions. And like I said, this is where a lot of people start having troubles, and people get caught off guard every single time, even though this is announced in the passions, hey, there's a special hunt, and somehow people still forget that they need a lot of credits in order to complete these things. That is really the part where a lot of people just have troubles, because it's like, what? 42 millions? Where am I gonna get 42 millions from? Well, yes, it's a lot of credits, but there's something else to consider regarding these hunts, and this is something that I didn't mention on purpose. If we go into the rewards of stage 1, you will notice, as I mentioned, that you can get credits over here. You can get 2,000 or 4,000, which is normally the amount of credits that you can get in regular packs in normal hunts. However, the further that you go into the hunt, you will notice that the credits start increasing. If we go over here into the packs and we see the rewards, now you see that this is 50% more, because it was 2,004, now it's 3,000 and 6,000. And if we go even to the very last packs that we can get over here in stage 6, where you are hunting for the epics, you will notice that the credits are much higher, 15,000 or 7,500. That is a lot of credits that you can get from these packs. Now granted, these packs, like I said, they can contain the epics, they can contain some parts, they can contain some credit, but oftentimes it's gonna contain credit. So it's kind of a win-win situation where you're hunting for these epics that are going to be pretty difficult to get, but at the same time you're getting a bunch of credits from this, and then again also with the credit multipliers per race you can get even more credits. Now, does that mean that you can grind 42.5 million credits in the span of the 14 days total that this event lasts? It probably is doable if you grind it massively, but that is why keep on saying, people, don't go broke. Save some credits. Now, as you can see, I don't even have enough credits in order to gold the car, but this is a bit of an experiment that I'm gonna do throughout this video. You may notice that I call this part 1 of the special hunt. In a couple of weeks, I will do part 2, in which I will show you just how much progress I was able to make. And I'm pointing out my credits of 36.6 million because I'm gonna count this as if I had zero credits. As if this meant that I had no credits. So in theory, I would like to get in total 70 something million credits in order to count, you know, like, hey, this meant nothing, I'm still gonna grind for the 42 million that I need. Now, is that going to be doable? I don't know. And honestly, I'm going to have to be spending them over time. But the point is to show you that in part 1, where I really haven't even started upgrading the car, I have 36 million. And by the end, I may still have 36 million. But if I have the car gold, it means that I did manage to do what I wanted, which was hunt, or not hunt, rather grind for these credits. But that's an experiment that we'll see how it goes. Now, you can see over here already done these conditions and whatnot. I already have 26 out of 40 blueprints. I already had like 15 blueprints or so. I don't know where I got them from at some point in the past. So I've been doing some of these races and I got it over here to 26. In fact, I believe that I still have some blueprints to claim over here. Yeah, there's some additional blueprints to claim here, so it's fine. Now, like I just mentioned, I know that this sounds like it's a lot because, in fact, this car does require a ton of blueprints. How many? Well, in order to get the car to the second star, you need 40 blueprints. In order to get it to the third star, you're gonna need 60 blueprints. In order to get it to the fourth star, okay, let me try that again. For 2 stars, you're gonna need 40. For 3 stars, you're gonna need 45. For 4 stars, you need 60. For 5 stars, you're gonna need 70, and for the 6th star, you need 85. That's a ton of blueprints. How many? Actually, that's a total of 300 blueprints. That's a lot of blueprints. And if you have played car hunts before, you might be thinking, wow, this is absolutely terrible. Car hunts are always so difficult. How am I gonna get 300 blueprints? And then on top of that, the epics, this is crazy. I won't have time. The drop rates are garbo and all of that stuff. Well, there's a caveat to that, and that is the fact that the drop rates in here are much more given than in regular car hunts, and on top of that, the drop rate for the blueprints go increasing. That is to say, each one of these stages have a higher chance than the previous one, allegedly. Now, let me show you something. Now, this information that I'm showing you on the screen right now actually comes from Reddit. I'll leave the link to the post where this was, posted. But over here, I don't know in which specific region, but they actually do show what are the drop rates for all of the packs in the game and whatnot, like proper drop rates. And over here you can see, this is for stage 1. And you can see that the drop rate for these blueprints are 8%, which is a little bit higher than what regular car hunts have. Regular car hunts, I believe, are like 5 or 7% depending on the hunt. But over here, the drop rate in the first stage is 8%. So the first stage is indeed going to be a little bit difficult in the sense you need 40 blueprints with this drop rate. It's going to be, tiresome to do, but it's absolutely doable. Then from there, the second stage is this one. And over here, you can see that the drop rate already increased to 10%. That means 1 out of 10 packs, in theory, you know how probability works. But 1 on 10 packs are going to have blueprints for the car. Now, this is a part where you're going to have another 45 blueprints. So, hey, it's still a grind, but, that's kind of how that goes. In stage 3, this one, once again, the drop rate increased to 14%. So, once again, the drop rate continues increasing. That is absolutely fantastic. Now, at this point is where you're going to need 60 blueprints. So, yep, that percentage is definitely going to be helpful because, oh boy, that's a lot of blueprints. But here's a weird, strange part. And even in Reddit, people were like, are these two flipped? No, apparently they're not. You can tell by the credits. This stage 3 has 3 and 6,000 credits. The next one has more credits, so it's the higher stage. Yet somehow the drop rate is lower. Once again, we went from 14% in stage 3 to stage 4 having 12%. Why? I don't know. Honestly, I believe that this is a mistake. These two probably were meant to be the other way around. Stage 3 at 12%, stage 4 at 14%. Why is it like this? I don't know, but it is what it is. So stage 4, in theory, you may want, once you get the guaranteed rewards from stage 4, you may want to go back to stage 3 and do this one with the better drop rate, but hey. Now, as I was mentioning, there's a bit of a caveat there, and that is, well, I should probably talk about it later once I do some races, but it has to do with the credit multipliers and this weird thing that happens with the threshold of credits to trigger higher multipliers. But anyway, so once again, this is stage 3, this is stage 4 at 12%. Stage 5 has a drop rate for the blueprints of 20%, and there are 2 blueprints. Now, this is the stage that needs the most blueprints. You need 85 blueprints in order to take the car to the 6th star. But at 20% and getting times 2 blueprints, it is absolutely crazy. You fly through this one, is great. Now, I know, like I just mentioned, it's a ton of blueprints in general, and it's a grind to get to this stage. But once you finally get to this stage, then it feels a bit like a vacation because you're like, oh man, this is so much easier to do. Now, here's the drop rate for the Nevera, the import part at very, very low percentage. So yeah, that is a little bit rough. You might still get 1 or 2 from grinding this stage. so that's fine. And finally, the very last stage, where you can only get the import part, you can see that the drop rate is at 2%. Now, hear me out. I know that 2% sounds like it's absolutely terrible drop rate, and it is very low, for sure. But considering the fact that you only need 16 epics, you know, it's gonna be a grind, but it's not like you need 85 epics in order to do it. You need 16. So it's something that is gonna take a while, it's gonna take some effort, but it's absolutely doable. And like I said, this stage also has the advantage that you get a bunch of credits anytime that you get credits from the packs. So hey, you're grinding also for credits. That is absolutely fantastic. So like I said, it's sort of a win-win in that stage. Now with all of that out of the way, let me do, well, I need to continue doing races in stage 1. I may not get any blueprints in this video because, hey, again, it's a matter of grinding and continue doing it and over, but it is fine. Basically, my idea over here is just to show you, well, not necessarily how difficult or easy the races are. They're not difficult to do. If you're doing it in manual, probably touch drive should be fine as well, so long as you're actually doing inputs. There were car hunts in the past that you can do pretty much by leaving touch drive on and not doing anything. No, in this one, you do actually need to input stuff, so it really means that you need to be stuck to your phone or whatever it is that you're playing this quite a bunch in order to do this. Like I said, it is a massive grind. But, and I've seen a bunch of people saying like, no, but this isn't worth it, it's not even all that great of a car and whatnot. To some degree, I can understand that perspective, and I understand that people may not have the time in order to grind this thing in the way that is needed in order to get the car. But here we come to the usual spot where, you know, this game, it's monetized in a way where either it's money or it's time. So for people that don't have money to spend on the game or don't want to spend the money, what do they need to spend? A lot of time in order to get stuff. And people that don't have or don't want to spend their time in the game, what do they need to spend? Money. So that's kind of how these games work. No surprise over there. So I don't know why people surprised that an event that is can give you a car classes at gold requires you to grind a lot, or alternatively spend money. That's kind of the normal. Now here's what I wanted to show you. I've just done the race, I'm gonna get my packs, and that is fantastic. Now notice the credits that I'm getting from finishing the race in first place. That is fantastic. Normally I believe it's like 5,000, 5,500 or something like that, because I have that little percentage increase from being quote-unquote VIP. It goes a little bit over, right? This is fine. And then you get a multiplier. Now, this multiplier that I got is not fantastic, times 4, but still, I can turn this 5,800 to 23,000. So, that's not bad. And here's what I got from these packs. Now, this is a race in stage 2, and this one I'm doing for science, because I'm not gonna get a single pack, because again, my car is only a 1-star. Like I mentioned, you can do the races in higher stages, but if you don't have the car that requires stars, then you get nothing. But basically what I'm gonna show you here, it's, well, a little bit of the stage race itself, which again is not necessarily difficult or anything, but the important part is that what I was saying on the multipliers, because both in stage 1 and in stage 2, you're gonna get, so long as you win in first place, or you rather finish the race in first place, you can get that about 5,000 credits per race, which again can trigger some pretty nice multipliers. Yeah, I got a times 4, but it could be a times 8, which should make it into like 40-something thousand. I can get a times 12, and that's gonna make it 60,000. I can get a times 20, and that is like 100,000 credits that I could get from this race. Now, obviously, this is completely random, right? The whole thing of the multipliers and whatnot. But it is important to notice this whole thing because there's this peculiarity on stage 3. Now, you remember that earlier when I was telling you about the drop rates, I said that stage 4 has worse drop rates than stage 3, right? And I said, well, maybe you want to go back and just do the races in stage 3 where the drop rates are better. Well, yeah, but the problem with the stage 3 is the credit multiplier. Now, over here in stage 2, let's see. Yeah, I got nothing because, again, I don't have the car's 2 stars, but here's my payout, once again, of the credits, and my multiplier of, Jesus Christ, once again, of times 4. Again, this can go much higher. You know how this randomness works, but it's fine. Let's pretend that this was a times 8, and I'm really happy about that. Now, let's see how it goes in stage 3. And again, I'm using this as a bit of a tour as well of the races themselves. On my Nintendo Switch, I already own this car from a Unite Pass or Legend Pass, where this car was available, and I had it 2 stars, or was it 1 star? No, 2 stars. So I grinded it a little bit, and I already got the car to the 3rd star, and I've been grinding this particular race, so it's fine. People have been complaining about these races being too long. This is about a 1-minute race, so it's not absolutely terrible. I haven't quite checked the other races, so it remains to be seen how it works over there. But let me see if I can beat this AI, because that is the whole point. I need to show you what is the payout of credits if you finish in first place over here. which is, you know, it's not super important to finish in first place, but you do want to get a good time in order to get the packs. Again, I'm doing this for science because I'm not going to get a single pack because my car over here is only at 1 star. So yeah, keep that in mind. But the point is to show you precisely the credits and, well, the race itself. So now these races are not particularly complicated or difficult. Now, again, while these hunts are very, very mindless, I kind of been using it a little bit to practice a little bit with the car and trying to do some turns better. Things like that, right? But hey, you don't necessarily need to train while you're doing this. But here's the important part about this. I finished the race. Look at my payout. Oh, that's a better payout, right? Oh my God, imagine the multipliers that you can get from this. Oh my God, no. These multipliers, anytime that your credits go over, I believe it's 7,500, the multipliers default to only being ×3. You're never gonna get anything higher than the ×3 multiplier in this race, which is the annoying part. What I was saying, that while you may want to do the races from in stage 4 that the drop rate is lower, you may want to go back to this one, stage 3. This multiplier is, well, rather, this multiplier is not good. Again, ×3, while it could be a ×4, ×6, ×8, ×12, ×20, but no, this is always guaranteed to be ×3. It's not a good deal, honestly. Okay, let's try it stage 4. But as I was saying, if you want to go back into stage 3 because in theory it has better drop rates, yeah, sure, but consider that the credit multipliers from the ads are not going to be good. They're going to be the worst that they can be. So I don't know, if you're really grinding for credits, this is something that you need to keep in mind, because of course you want to get as many credits, since if you're going to be doing a race dozens and dozens, if not a couple hundred times in that stage, and not being able to get a single good multiplier, that is the thing that may detract you from going back into stage 3 once you are in stage 4. I know, it's a little bit weird. I still hope that they're gonna fix this at some point. It was actually mentioned in the developer Q&A that they did, what was it, like a month ago or something like that, that they are aware that this is a situation here, an issue. I don't know if it's an issue. I don't know if this was intended with the introduction of the VIP system to remove the greater multipliers from this payout of races. But either way, well, we can only hope for the best over here. Now, this does seem to be a longer race. I think it's, what, like 110 or something like that? Should be fine. Again, I've seen people talking about like these races are very long and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, were there any different in previous special hunts? Honestly, I don't remember. So you're gonna have to let me know in the comments if they were shorter races. But a 1 minute race, they're not fantastic, but again, you're going for a high class S car, well, mid-high class S car, so why not? There it is. The payout over here goes back to 5,800, which again seems like a bad thing, but look at that! This is what I'm talking about. This is why I would prefer to continue doing the races in stage 4 rather than stage 3, just because I can get this type of credit sometimes. And there you have it. Look at that. Oh, give me my credits. Again, I'm not getting anything because my car is at 1 star. I shouldn't be doing these races, but I'm doing it just for the sake of showing you kind of how this works. And by the way, you're noticing that I'm doing the races completing the, I think I completed the objective, probably did, with a 1 star car, so it's absolutely doable. And even if I didn't, at the end of the day, you're gonna be needing to upgrade this car, so yeah, just keep that in mind. But yeah, that's basically the gist of the special hunt. Again, it's a lot of grind, absolutely, 100%. Is it worth it? I certainly believe so. Again, this whole thing comes back to the idea that this is a pretty decent car in general, or so I believe. With that acceleration, like I said, probably really useful in Gauntlet. Even in multiplayer, you know, this acceleration can do some miracles. But still, getting a Class S car, considerably highly ranked Class S car with pretty interesting performance, and the fact that you can get it straight up for free at the price of grind, I think that makes sense. That's kind of how this entire game has been set up. Now, to be fair, there has been some cases in which Gameloft has given us car, Class S car here and there and whatnot, but not necessarily at gold, not at full stars and whatnot. So this is definitely an opportunity, but once again, you really have to wait whether you want to spend either money, or if you don't have the money but you have time, spend the time. If you don't have time and you don't have money, then unfortunately this event is not for you. That's just kind of how it is, but that's basically the name of the game. Either spend money or spend time, but it is what it is. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. Like I said, there's going to be a second part of this video much later, in a couple of weeks, where I'll show you what progress did I make on this account. On my Switch, however, I'm grinding it non-stop because I do want to get this car at gold. Over here, we'll see if I can get it. But that's all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!